Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Magic Mice, proudly sponsored by CoolStuffing.com, CardHoarder.com, Alter Sleeves, as well as Twitch subscribers and Patreon supporters just like you. I'm Evan Irwin, and we get started each week by saying hello to my two co-hosts, MTG Nerd Girl.
Hey, guys. Welcome back. Sorry I missed last week.
It's all good. Ruben Bressler.
Hey, everybody. How you doing?
You guys are way cooler than I am. I don't know what's happening.
I am in solidarity with a injured teammate.
I don't have any sunglasses. Sorry. I also have a giant head, so it's hard enough to find sunglasses. Let's face it.
Also, you all can read my computer screen, so I'm going to take these off now.
Oof. Well, I mean, and I would say that, you know, you guys listening to audio-only podcasts, they have sunglasses on, and I don't. But if you missed our pre-show, subscribers to this channel get access to our NSFW version early. And with that, we kick it off with our first pick in our giveaway. Get your chance at $50 worth of anything at CoolStuffing.com by typing !raffle in the chat. But subscribe first to get 2 chances to win and support your favorite streamer with your suggestions at the end of the show to see who we raid after the show tonight. That is thanks, of course, to our sponsor, CoolStuffing.com, where you can find cool stuff in stock every day. And today, Wizards let us see the first look at Commander Legends Battle for Baldur's Gate. And it's looking pretty dope.
It's great. It looks really cool. I'm excited. They previewed Wand of Wonder, which is a classic D&D item. They previewed Ancient Brass Dragon in black for whatever reason, but who cares?
Sure.
The ability is wild. And they gave us Minsk and Boo as Planeswalker.
Woo,
Yay!
Minsk and Boo. And there will be collector boosters, just like there was for Commander Legends. There will be a whole product suite as we saw it previously.
And the art for, I will say, the art's great, but the graphic design is great. The design of the packaging and the symbol with the ampersand and the Planeswalker symbol sort of meshed together are both gorgeous.
I'm all for more D&D sets, all the D&D theme stuff. I'm always for more Boo products. Definitely into it.
I will say the biggest surprise for me was they said, ready to level up with the latest Alchemy and Historic cards, only available on Arena. Alchemy Horizons Baldur's Gate releases this July, bringing hundreds of new cards to MTG Arena and launching with everything you come to expect from full set releases, including a set mastery, draft gameplay mechanics, or draft gameplay modes, and more. That's a lot.
Interesting.
We've had Alchemy releases that are, 20, 30 cards or whatever, but not actual, it's Alchemy, but it's also a set release? Question mark?
Well, it's an Arena set release.
So this looks like it's going to be some sort of Modern Horizons-esque type format. So this is for Historic and for Alchemy. This will probably, I guess, not be a thing that's legal in Standard. This is going to be an Alchemy only set, which is really kind of interesting. And I wonder how that's going to continue to break up the Alchemy / Standard side of things. The idea of getting sets that are good for Alchemy and sets that are good for Standard, plus supplementary sets for Alchemy that go with the Standard set, is going to be a lot of cards.
I would just say that literally if you say anything with sunglasses on, it's 10% more cooler than not saying it with sunglasses on. I'm just like, man, you're making a really cool point. Yeah, that's a sweet.
Listen, I know.
I think that's probably the first time Evan's ever listened to me. I think I should probably just wear these all the time.
Whoa, got him. Clip it.
So many shots fired.
Posterity.
So many shots.
Amazing.
Well,
but yeah, that's really interesting. I don't think I expected that. I don't think I expected an entire Alchemy set to come with a Commander Legends expansion.
Yeah, no.
Did we get a hint of that before this, or
no? I mean, this just came out of nowhere, in my opinion. I would know they did say they're bringing back the Battle Bond lands, the multiplayer dual lands. I'm honestly shocked that they didn't do the enemy versions of these lands. Wouldn't it make the perfect sense to just do the enemy versions? Am I wrong?
Might be in a future expansion. I mean, they might just be saving them for something else.
Yeah, that's fair.
That tends to be the answer.
But these are $20-ish dual lands, from all I can tell. Reflecting Pool getting another reprint. That's always exciting. There are no less than 936 cards in this set. Rip people who have to make products on websites. That's 936 cards.
That's like with the altars, right?
With altars and everything.
Saying?
Altars, extended art.
So like 6
showcase.
versions of this one idiot card. Oh my gosh.
Mm-hmm.
They did finally give us like the D&D framed lightning bolt and fireball, which was very nice.
Yeah, which we have on screen right now if you want to check it out. I love the D&D like book look. I think that's brilliant. So more of that. The fact that fireball, like, look, Wizards also like gnashed teeth against fireball for many years. Just like, can't we make just a better fireball that isn't quite as confusing? And they can't because they've already made it and they're stuck with it. And so lean in, everybody. Just lean in. But the lightning bolt I think is brilliant. Like, this book version foil is gonna be worth God knows how much money. Anytime.
Is that Liliana casting lightning bolt? I don't understand.
I don't know that I care anymore. There's Hadouken. I think I'm just kind of over it.
That's fair.
I'm all about the Dugans. But this is a lightning bolt, and I can tell you traditionally it does not matter how many times they reprint lightning bolt and where they put lightning bolt. It will be worth at least $1 to $2+ until the end of time, like until the rocks get soft again. Lightning bolts are always going to be worth money. The ancient brass dragon, Ruben. What does this sick mythic do?
I don't understand how this is what a brass dragon does in D&D, but it is dope as hell. Ancient brass dragon's a 7/6 flyer for 7 mana. It's an elder dragon, because it is an ancient brass dragon. And when it deals combat damage to an opponent, you roll a d20. Hooray! We all love d20s. And when you roll a d20, you put that many power into play from all graveyards, which is wild. That is a crazy thing.
With total mana value X or less, where X is the result.
Oh, yeah.
I'm in for it. I like rolling d20s. I don't care what all of the competitive purists think. It's super fun.
No, it's awesome.
And I'm all for it.
It's brilliant. And do note, it does only equal X to the total number, so you can get like if you roll a 10, you get a 5 CMC and a 5 CMC, and that's kind of what you got.
Sure.
But regardless, I mean, that's still crazy powerful. And
so
silly.
I guess the flavor here is that brass dragons are the most gregarious of the true dragons that crave, like, they're extroverts. So they just want more friends, I guess is the flavor here.
Also, as Pharmacist Judge notes, the first non-legendary creature with Elder in the creature type.
Interesting.
Oh, that's interesting.
It is interesting. So that's pretty neat. Now, Minsk and Boo.
Minsk and the Boo.
Minsk and Boo. Beloved.
Go for the eyes. Sorry.
Does he make... I didn't read it yet. Does it make a little Boo token?
It does. It does make a Boo token.
Yeah.
Read the card, and... Yeah, it's got some of my favorite lines of text.
It's fine. Well, look, first of all...
Evan, read the card.
Right.
Evan, read the card.
It's fine.
It has some of my favorite sentences I've ever seen on a Magic card.
It's pretty brilliant. Now, it's a red, green, and 2 generic mana for a 3 loyalty planeswalker that can be your commander. And when it enters the battlefield, and at the beginning of your upkeep, you may create Boo, a legendary 1/1 red hamster creature token with trample and haste. It has 2 abilities, +1, put 3 +1/+1 counters on up to 1 target creature with trample or haste, and -2, sacrifice a creature. When you do, Minsk and Boo Timeless Heroes deals X damage to any target, where X is that creature's power. If the sacrificed creature was a hamster, draw X cards. Was a hamster.
Amazing.
Okay.
That's what
and all of these are going to be on Arena.
Yeah. I mean, that's the way I read it.
Yeah.
I mean, let's go historic. It's going to be really interesting.
Historic Brawl is going to be it's like Christmas.
Oh, yeah. It's going to be sick.
Except for your wallet, because you're going to need a lot of wild cards to keep up with all these things, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, did you like that $100 bill? And it's gone. Ruben, tell us about what a Wand of Wonder is.
So a Wand of Wonder is a spectacular Magic item that's been around since, I think, 1st edition. Basically, it is a magic wand that has a bunch of like gyrating oraries and orbs and crazy garbage happening at the tip of it, and you point it at something, and in D&D, a very random effect happens. And by very random, I mean sometimes you cast Fireball at what you point at. Sometimes you make grass grow in a line from the end of the tip of the wand. You know, sometimes you turn whatever you pointed it at to polymorph it into a sheep. Sometimes you make a cloud of butterflies. Like, it's extremely random, and it's been around forever. It is the classic random action generator. It is going to be a new artifact for 3 colorless and a red that has an activated ability that I have forgotten, but I think you get a random number of creatures, either 1, 2, or on a natural 23 from your, or no, not creatures, instants or sorcery spells from your opponent's deck.
Wow. Yeah, each opponent exiles cards from the top cards of the library until they exile an instant or sorcery. You may cast up to X of those without from among cards exile without paying their mana costs, and that's silly. It's
like Chaos Wand, but even more chaotic.
Even more insane, as it's for every single player. Now, Elder Brain, I believe it's a 938. It's 936, not only 936 cards in the freaking set. This is the Buy a Box promo. If you want to get the extended art version of Elder Brain for 2 black, 5 generic mana, it's a 6/6 rare horror with menace, and when it attacks a player, you exile all cards from that player's hand, and they draw that many cards. You may play lands and cast spells from among the exiled cards for as long as they remain exiled. If you cast a spell this way, you may spend mana as though mana of any color to cast it. You slurp out their whole hand. Yep. You take the whole hand.
You eat their brain. That's what the Elder Brain does. The Elder Brain is the leader of an Illithid colony. Leader of an Illithid colony. Illithids, of course, are mind flayers, and so they suck out the brain, and then you cast their spells.
My very first deck I ever bought cards for. Nice. Traumatized Mind Flayer, Guilt Feeder, and Mind Flayer.
I like it. Now, what we've kind of seen Wizards do at this point is that they're doing this kind of jockeying where you show like stuff from the new set and then you don't talk about that set for a while, then stuff from a different set, then talk about the new set for a while. And so like this is kind of the upfronts or whatever for Commander Legends, Battle for Baldur's Gate, and now it's time to bounce back to Streets of New Capenna. We'll talk about that, we'll get through that, and then we'll bounce back to this again May 16th for these previews. And so we'll hear more about these basically in a month, but this is enough to get everyone pumped and excited, and here's a rare land cycle, and here's some cool stuff happening. It's coming to Arena. Let's go.
Yeah.
All right. So as we move on here out of the first pick into Gather the Townsfolk, thanks to sponsor cardhoarder.com, offering the best inventory prices and delivery of cards for Magic Online, including card borrowing, which is really important these days. So tell them we sent you, and they're a fantastic company. Moving on here to the Streets of New Capenna Roundup, which was a thing. For example, right now, the Streets of New Capenna commander decks are very expensive. This is because there was an announcement that the commander deck availability will be limited for a sort of the initial launch of the set. This is, one of those things where you probably shouldn't buy the product unless you really, really want it, because supply will catch up, just not at first. Let's see here. We also had one of my favorite controversies, from the set. There's a magical substance on Streets of New Capenna. It is not drugs. It is not drugs. But what it is, it's called Halo. Halo is the magical substance that rules the criminal underworld in New Capenna, sought after by all for its magic-enhancing qualities. Not drugs. Right. Now, it comes in many forms, such as crystals, liquids, and vapors, not drugs. You might present this ethereal substance by adding stones or crystals as part of your WPN decorations. But if you'd rather serve it as a snack or a beverage, you can get creative by using treats like rock candy or a fruity punch. But hold on. Remember, please do not serve in beverageware associated with alcoholic beverages like martini glasses. Remember, magic is for all ages and everyone should feel welcome. And now they have, clearly vehemently come out and, this is family friendly first stuff. You don't want to say, hey, we're talking about meth or whatever. But what I mentioned was like, hey, I think it's a lot more interesting if they would have, bought in and said, this is a substance that ruins lives, that hits people rich and poor, that messes up demon crime families, that shows you that anyone can be susceptible to the halo, not just the poorest, not just the most desperate, but instead it's not that.
Be an interesting social commentary, but I don't think Wizards of the Coast is ready for
I don't know.
That level of realism.
You know, we've talked recently about Wizards of the Coast wanting to box with Arcane for the Netflix show and stuff like that. And there is a lot of drug use and like addiction and awful stuff in there. And like, you know, Riot isn't necessarily, you know, rated R by any means. And I think they could have possibly gotten away with being a little less cutesy about it. Like, because they're definitely implying it, but
yeah, they're implying it. There's heavy winking and nudging happening here. It is being flavored more like ether from Kaladesh,
a little bit,
which is a natural substance that is sort of similarly valued and similarly lusted over by those in power.
Yeah, but they also didn't say. They didn't ever describe it as like a crystal, liquid, or a vapor. They're just like, it's energy in these things in the artwork.
And also it's gang world. Like, you know, you have to kind of pick your battles when you're like, we're going to make a vampire world, but we don't want to have the creepy sexual stuff about vampires. No. But we want all of the other cultural touchstones, right? It's the same thing here. It's like, we want to have a demon crime world, but we don't, like, it's a bridge too far to do drug deals. Yeah,
so we want a crime lord, and we also need something that's criminal without talking about drugs, rape, murder, whatever. Like, it seems really
it's tough,
difficult to come up with a thing that will fit the bill.
Palatable crimes in your fantasy game are going to be somewhat difficult. It took them 20 years to print a card with the word murder in the title. So,
and for a long time, they didn't like Wrath of God because God, and they wouldn't even make God creatures for a very long time. So, yeah, you know, this is something that I understand, and I think Pharmacist Judge makes a new point, which drugs are perceived maybe much differently in different countries. This is like, you know, are they okay with releasing this in the Chinas of the world or whatever? And I also understand that, you know, there's a risk with that involved, and but again, you know, this to me is there's an opportunity for Magic to kind of be more than just the cardboard in some ways, and this is where you're able to take those themes and run with them if you really want to. Either way, Wizards ran directly in the other direction of this is not drugs, 100% not drugs, so don't call it drugs, so we're not going to call it drugs. Let's see here. There was a Neon Dynasty Championship that happened. Did y'all watch any of it?
No,
me neither.
I read tweets about it.
I mean, my boy Jim Davis went EXO.
Top 8, went EXO, and then lost in top 8. Yep.
And that was
lost in the finals. We got second, I think. Was that what it was?
No, he lost in the quarters, and then he lost again because that was the ultimate dagger. Because if he had just gotten one win after going EXO in the whole event, one win would have gotten him into Worlds. Yeah, but it didn't.
Is he not in Worlds?
Not now.
But Ely Cassis ended up taking it down.
Yeah.
Which is huge.
That's and Ely's amazing. Ely. So he's a fantastic player, which is great. There was a really fascinating thread on Reddit talking about the wasted opportunity that they could have had here and the things that they could have done. The fact that they didn't promote it very well on the official channels.
Or at all.
I mean, the fact that they paid almost $500,000 spending well into six figures on support staff and getting things happening in graphics and yada yada, and to just kind of let it happen and move on. And this is also one of those self-fulfilling prophecies. Wizards like had this stance of like they just don't care about competitive Magic, and when you see an event like this happen, you clearly don't care about competitive Magic because you didn't care enough to make it interesting. You didn't put any links. Remember when you had to remember when you picked like players and it would matter in arena and stuff like that? Nope, none of that stuff. They don't even bother. They don't even try. Like if I could have got 500 gems from watching that event, I would have watched it. Like just
you can get it in gem form. You can get it in gaseous form or liquid, but it's not drugs.
It's not drugs. Can't buy them like drugs.
No currency.
No currency. That's
zero currency. So yeah, this is one of those things that, you know, and again, as a guy who, you know, who markets things and gets people excited about stuff, you know, there were a lot of opportunities.
So Venture won the event, which is crazy. Like Black-White Adventures or Black-White Venture into the Dungeon was the breakout star of the weekend, and the Naya Runes deck was not nearly as big of a problem. None of them made top 8 as people thought it was going to be. So, you know,
That makes me happy. I am hoping now that Wizards is starting. I think this last one was the first time we had the opportunity. And I think only a few people actually did, but a lot of the online tournament systems are starting to get championship invites attached. So now that people can actually start to play and get invites through normal human means, not this like weird system that has been very dodgy for the last couple of years.
Yeah.
I hope that will bring some support back for playing in these events, which hopefully will entice Wizards to make it more fun and interactive because the viewer base will be there. They will be interested. They will be invested. And I think getting it so that way people think they have a shot at being able to play in the thing is what gets them invested.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was there was some wonderful controversy that showed up as a result of this event. Ondrej Strasky, who is a wonderful Magic player, he noted that he thinks it's time to bring some financial rewards to ladder play. The current state of the ladder is a joke, and I think it seeps into the highest level of competition. This PT was probably the lowest skill level I've experienced in 10 years of playing on the tour. Now, I held my tongue. I literally typed out a thing, and I thought about it, I typed another thing, I thought about it, and I was like, no, you know what, I can't properly, I think, explain the nuance of what is wrong with this statement on a platform like Twitter. And God bless Jeff Hoogland's
Good on you.
He went.
Not
he went
every
that far.
thought needs to be posted to the public.
Not everyone needs to come out of my head, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But I would say that bringing financial rewards to ladder play is one of the worst ideas I've literally ever heard. I'm saying it's like top 5 worst arena ideas I've ever heard. You want to talk about throwing money into the aether, setting it on fire. Like, why would you ever do this? Why would you put a penny into ladder play, rewarding financial ladder play? I'm sorry, what? None of that makes any sense whatsoever. I just feel like there's a lot of times, this especially comes from the pros, there's a lot of times where the pros just do not imagine the scenarios necessary to make change happen, all right? You have this idea. You said, you know what? I think bringing money to the, financial rewards to the ladder is how we're going to make it. You're going to walk into an office with a guy in charge of you and your department or whatever, and you're going to say to them, I want to make X dollars, tens of thousands easily, and I want to give it to these people who are already playing our game, and they're not getting anything right now, but we want to reward them for some reason, because it's going to do what? Make the ladder better? Have we paid any attention to what Wizards has done for the past 3 to 4 years?
I'm totally on
what?
Throwing money at the ladder instead of giving top of ladder play should get invites to a tournament.
Sure. You earned it, right? Why would the company pay
that
you?
can be financial compensation in the form of tournaments, which you can then monetize and promote and cover or whatever.
So monetize the tournament. Yeah.
Monetization also doesn't necessarily mean to be cash money either. It could be in the form of gems. It could be something. But like you hit Mythic and you get 3 packs or something.
Yeah, that's true.
I feel like there's a middle ground here where he's not necessarily talking about you get top 1,200, you get $1,000 guaranteed.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think that there's some sort of middle, but there's no incentive for players to play on the ladder or play well or do anything. That's part of the reason I don't grind to Mythic every month. People come into my channel and are like, oh, how many times have you hit Mythic? I was like, I don't know, the 3 times I tried, because who cares?
Exactly. I think that I agree with you.
Exactly.
I think that finishing top 1,000, top 100, top 10, you can get a bunch of gems and coins and promos and a little pet that says that you're really impressive.
Or maybe tokens to the opens. Like, the 20 or they're $25 for the opens is what they cost now. So let's say, top 10, you get 10 tokens, top 2,500, you get 2 or something. Like, they could monetize it without it being super detrimental and actually make it worth playing.
I agree.
The idea, the thing that got me, and this is part of why I want to have the conversation, was that I think that you could interpret it as literally cash dollars given to players, but also you could say, hey, what if you give out gems and stuff? That's also financial into the terms of the client. But he says here, this PT with the lowest skill level I've experienced in 10 years playing. Wizards doesn't care.
We're actually talking about Ondrej.
I could not give
his tweet's very bad.
Who cares if the competition is low? Wizards, I assure you, that's the #1 least thing they give a damn about. Like, actual on the bottom of the list. I can't.
I think that's cute. I don't think it is relevant in any meaningful way. And I think wanting it to... I played a lot of poker for many years. And I was never like, God, I wish you... Sorry. I wish you idiots were better at your job, because this is just stupid. Also, did you top 8?
I don't know. I think I got close. But
so then what is the problem?
What are we talking about? Exactly.
Like, I hope Ondrej's happy with the skill level of this event, y'all. Like, what are you doing?
He probably should have just won.
If everybody's worse than you, that's great.
That's great. Congratulations, you did it.
Yeah,
You're
I
such
never
a good
complained
player.
I never complained about the skill level of my opponents.
Oh.
But, it is.
My goodness.
I mean, man, this is such a weird. I will never be as good at Magic as Ondrej Strasky. I will never be as good at football as a professional football player. I will never be as good as, the best poker players in the world. So if I'm in a situation and I go, man, I'm supposed to be at the upper echelon. This is supposed to be the National Football League, the World Series of Poker, the Pro Tour equivalent. Mm-hmm. And it doesn't live up to my expectations. I can see how that can be frustrating, make you jaded, right? It can sort of make you wistful for a day long past. But you also shouldn't tweet that. Like, maybe don't share that opinion with the public. Share it with your buddies down at the pool hall.
Your Discord chats or whatever. But
share it at the diner with the other 80-year-old guys from Heat. You know what I mean?
There's one more thing I want to touch on with this subject. The other thing is that the viewer base as a whole, now maybe he was not challenged in this particular event, but the viewer base as a whole is still going to be very challenged by the gameplay that is happening, by the people at the top of the ladder and the pros that are currently, even if they are at the point where they don't care, aren't practicing, aren't pushing those high ladder scores, it's still going to be amazing gameplay, maybe it's soft, but
look, I mean, I've been to the big events when there were big events. I've been to the Pro Tours. There are scrubs at the Pro Tour. Someone must be the worst in the room, right?
I've been there.
They have to be.
Tour. It's got to be a full.
And I've been there too. I was there in Barcelona. I was the worst guy in the room. No joke about it. But you also made it there, so you're better than 99% of players. That there's still a percentage, of separation, but still, I'm sorry that they weren't high enough on your percentage marks to make it okay. It just, absolutely silly.
This is what happens when your wizard has a high intelligence and a low wisdom.
So we're going to move on here. Magic Online had some really sweet announcements where they talked about, and this started just yesterday, All Access Week is back from yesterday through April 6th. The Mythic event token will be available in the online store. So for $25, you can play with basically every card on Magic Online. You can play all the vintage and legacy you want. You can play all these really cool super qualifiers that are happening. The link is in the description of this video / the notes for the show. You can check that as well. There's invasion block flashback drafts right now they just ended from the 16th to the 23rd.
Darn.
That's my starter.
I know, right?
That's my
Invasion's a nice one.
Invasion is
it's a weird draft format.
Mm-hmm.
But
I don't remember. I was too young. I didn't draft.
I didn't play
So Invasion was weird because Invasion gave you kicker, and then Plane Shift was allied colors. And then Apocalypse was all enemy color stuff. So you had this really consistent ally color deck and then just open a Spirit Monger or something. And you're just and there's also no mana fixing. I mean, it was the original 3-color block or it was the original multicolor block. So they were still working out the kinks, but it's a ton of fun.
It's where you would see, I read a tweet. It was your land bases were 8, 6, and 3. That was your mana base.
Yep, it was horrendous.
Horrendous. Well, moving on here to just an all upside story. There is a North American WPN premium store testing a booster recycling program, which is awesome, where Wizards is teaming up with a company called TerraCycle, a company dedicated to finding solutions to recycle typically non-recyclable items to kick off the wrapper recycling test. Now, Wizards over the years has traditionally tried to be more environmental friendly. The original secret layers were kind of a hot, like, big joke when it came to being environmentally friendly. They redesigned those. There was the Modern Masters event. I'm sorry, the Modern Master product that had the paper packaging.
Packaging, yeah.
That didn't go well because it was scratching and messing up the cards.
Right.
And this seems to be kind of like the next iteration of, well, if we're here with the foil booster packs, maybe we can recycle them.
Interesting. So this is not. I am very interested in this. So this is sending a large box. And by large, I mean probably like 3-4 feet tall.
That'd be my guess.
Box to your local game store, and then putting recyclable Magic refuse into the box, and then sending it through the mail.
I think so. I believe
TerraCycle.
Yeah, there's a prepaid label that arrives affixed to the box. You just throw it in the mail and off it goes.
I can't imagine that this is going to do a ton at the local card store. Likely because that box is going to get trash dumped in it and dumb stuff and disqualify it real quick. Where I would like to see this happen is stores like Card Kingdom and Cool Stuff that open, like, I've seen your basements and you guys just open a crap ton of stuff.
I
was there one time in the Card Kingdom basement, and there was like an army of people just like ripping packs. And I was like, oh my gosh.
Yeah,
so
I literally.
Really cool.
I've stressed like I've pulled sort of some of these muscles right here, just doing this for like 8 hours. You'll just do this and open packs, and it sounds like so much fun when you're opening 300 booster packs or whatever time. But after a while,
it gets it hurts, and your hands get dry. Like it's a dryness that's unique,
and you can't use lotion because you'll ruin the cards.
Exactly. So if you've never done it, it is an experience to open booster packs for 8 hours in a row. And just like at the end of it, it's not like your hands are, it's such a unique type of dry.
It really
is.
And
they feel dirty.
It does feel dirty.
But, there's also something unique in that you're sitting in a room with however many people, and you're going to do something like, who can open the first foil whatever mythic, and that silly stuff is fun because you look for things like that.
But yeah, I mean, I encourage this idea. Yeah. And TerraCycle appears to be a successful company. And it's just not going to be a thing that you can put the box out for the general populace. It's you have to put it behind the counter.
Well, you have to put it. I would argue they're starting in the WPM premium stores because they have the most sort of control and access and conversations with those stores.
Just because you're a premium store doesn't mean you don't have wild animals playing in your store.
No, you still do.
I have a great idea to get the entire store involved and to get so that way it wouldn't be ruined. What if for every box or whatever shipped in from a store, they got a certain amount of promo cards that could go to their collective community?
Like that.
To get everybody involved. So at the end of the draft night, everybody goes and puts their boosters in there. You guys were super close. We're going to get 100 of these to disperse for, a special thing. Oh, that'd be so cool.
Well, I mean, sure card is not on the reserved list.
Look, a lot of
dang it, it's on the reserved list.
I know, right? a lot of working with Magic players is just a game of incentives. Figure out how you want them to move, give them the carrot, and they'll go straight to it. You just got to figure out what carrot to use and when.
Right. It's just like Magic Arena. They can just make more gems. They can make more coins.
Yeah.
They can make more promo cards.
Make it like the player rewards for like the lands and stuff. When you wrote into a friend and they send you a thing, just do it with the card stores.
Basic wastes. That's the promo.
I dig it. Well, moving on here. So many things to talk about this week because we missed a week.
We missed a week.
Yeah, so Clarion Community College has unveiled the Academic 133 Plus XL $1.75 million at the time of this recording. 27,249 backers. I am one of those people. I was super impressed with this product. This is the deck box of his dreams. He's worked very hard on this for, I think, a year, he had said, and it certainly looks like it. They did a fantastic job at creating what I could argue is just like the coolest deck box I've ever seen. Yeah.
I mean, when I heard that the Prof's big marketing push was for a deck box, I was like, really?
It makes sense. That's what he does for a living. Is he spent the last 10 years rating deck boxes. It makes perfect sense that he would be the best candidate to design one. And it makes the most sense that he would be the person to tell someone to buy a thing and they would buy it. Because that's literally his entire platform. I mean, with some exceptions, of course, but he's the guy that rates the things and makes it good and tells you what's the best.
And he did his homework here. Like, I can find no holes. I can find no, like, in looking at it from afar, in doing whatever I can do to look at it from where I sit as a Magic the Gathering content creator, it has everything I want if I were to purchase this product. The only downside would be price, but you get what you pay for, right? Yeah. So if you're willing to pay for this product, there are no other downsides, is as far as I can tell. Now, again, it's a Kickstarter, so we'll see how logistics goes. But he did his research, so I love it.
And he did, he's not sort of doing this on his own, he doesn't just like, find some factory or whatever that would make it. Like, he's working with the game Genic, who've made these, supplies before. I certainly expect there to be a retail release after this. You don't have this type of success. Like, again, one of the top 100 Kickstarters of all time right now, and not kind of run with it from there, because again, it's an amazing product. It's just, you create a sort of a more slimmed down version for the retail chains and move on from there. But get yours while you can. It runs for another 20 days as of this recording. And obviously Prof did a fantastic job at building up the hype and making it happen. So,
yeah.
All right. We're going to move on here to Desperate Ravings and check out our Alter sleeves. Support the show by using the code MAGICMICS at checkout for 5% off anything in the store, including a set of exclusive sleeves featuring the Magic Mics crew at altersleeves.com/MagicMics. A lot of different stuff to talk about this week in Desperate Ravings.
Yeah, we're gonna have a longer episode than normal, everybody.
Yeah, we
missed a week.
We got a few things to chitter chat about. Now, Saffron Olive, the wonderful Saffron Olive, had tweeted something I thought was super interesting. And that was, he was looking at Google Trends, and Google Trends is where you can look up essentially how many people search certain terms. And at this point, Commander ranks ahead of Standard, Modern, and Pioneer combined. And that's a lot. When you see the whole chart and you see basically the complete collapse of interest in Standard about 2 years ago, or I'm sorry, about 2 years ago or so, which makes sense with the timelines of Wizards stopped caring. You have MTG Pioneer just fell off a cliff. And Modern kind of got cute there for a minute, and then it's gone. Whereas Commander has done nothing but get bigger and bigger and bigger.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough for me to... First of all, this is not surprising, right? None of us are surprised.
No. This was the trend.
But also, we've been in our houses for a long time for a global pandemic that is still not over and will continue to make people sick for the foreseeable future. So live events where the competitive formats are popular are not as popular. Combine that with the fact that the self-fulfilling prophecy of the professional circuit has driven down interest.
Right.
Meanwhile, webcam Commander and friendly tabletop gaming has skyrocketed. Not just Commander, but things like board games. Other hobbies that you can do in the comfort of your home with 3 to 5 friends who are in your pod. So this is not surprising. It's interesting. I don't know if there's a message here that I didn't already know.
Go ahead.
I reserve right to judge Pioneer because everybody's like, oh, Pioneer, people don't like it, blah, 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 blah. It was literally announced like the same week as the pandemic. It was like, Pioneer, also, please don't leave your homes. There's no more toilet paper.
So it was a little bit before that, but still, it only had like 4 months before it died. Yes.
Close enough.
Yeah.
So that's not a thing. And again, it's hard to get people interested in playing Modern when there's no GP to go to play it. Right. It's not exciting. Like, as fun as maybe Moto is for some people, the carrot isn't there. So hopefully, if nature heals, we'll see if these things are actually going to stay true. Yeah. I hope that they're not, but I mean,
well, there's supposed to be next week's supposed to be the big stream for competitive play and what that means.
That's right.
And
Forgot about that.
Right. So with that said, my expectation is that, again, and I've discussed this many times, my called shot is they're bringing back Pro Tours. They're calling them Pro Tours. They're bringing back Grand Prix, and they're going to, call them Grand Prix. And it's going to be a system separate from that. It's going to be PTQs, GPs, and Pro Tours. And I don't know if they're going to bring back the Pro Points, but I wouldn't be surprised. And I 100% expect them to also bring back the Hall of Fame. And just turn back the clock. Just say, well, you know what? That whole thing was a mistake. And we just chuck it back to 2019.
They'll bring back Magic Fests. They'll bring back Magic Fests. They won't bring back GPs.
We'll see.
I don't think they'll bring back GPs.
Well, there was Grand Prix events at Magic Fests, right?
Sure.
That was how they sold it. So
fair. Okay. If we're counting that, then yes.
Sure.
Yes.
But we'll see.
I still called Magic Fest's Grand Prix because there was a Grand Prix there. So
right. Are you going to the Magic Fest or are you going to the Grand Prix? Right. Was the kind of the question.
I never understood.
Yeah.
I still call them Pro Tours to this day. Like even Mythic Championships. I even tell people like when I was at the Invitational, I say it's some sort of some sort of championship. It's just all the same name.
For sure. So we have a wonderful, exciting topic to bring up, which is the arena economy. Now, this would have been probably our first pick or something high up on the ladder for last week. Wizards made a arena economy stream where they talked about the arena economy. And it is predatory is a word I've heard bantered about. Expensive is definitely a word that's bantered about. And I think the way I would kind of put it is that imagine you work at Wizards, right? Imagine you're there and they say the community wants something to be done about the economy, the cost of the client, the cost of playing, whatever. And they also tell you, you cannot make us make less money. You cannot lose us money by whatever it is you want to talk about or discuss or change. And that's kind of where it ended. And as a result, we've got a stream summary of the following. These are the 6 things that they had mentioned during the stream. So beyond emotions, here's what they said. That there's going to be a Mythic guaranteed pack that you can buy, because right now you can buy a pack for 1,000 gold. We can guarantee that it has a Mythic in it, or I guess a Mythic Wildcard in it if you already have all of them, for 1,300 gold, which I thought was neat. The one that made everyone go insane was the Wildcard bundle. You can actually buy Wildcards, just straight up buy them, 12 rares and 4 mythics for $50, for $49.99. And that has its own problems we'll talk about. Constructed event rewards will change from packs/gems instead of in-card or what do they call it, ICR or something, card rewards/gold. In-game card rewards. The testing deck with Sparky before crafting is something Wizards is thinking about. Basically, you can build whatever you want, and you can play it against Sparky, but you can't play it in any other place unless you own the cards. So that would help you brew up decks and come up with some ideas. So I thought that was pretty cool, but they did not say that was happening. A new tabletop-only Eternal format coming with no digital cards. This could be the Pioneer that we had discussed.
Yeah.
A bit. And lastly, and again, this isn't something they said is promised, but they did say that favorite land function is coming. And it's weird to talk about that 4 years in, but whatever. So let's back it up to the most controversial of these, which is a wildcard bundle.
I will say, by the way, I'm deferring all of my opinion to the experts who appear to be YouTube. So I reserve. I'm going to go with what you all say. Because at this point, I'm like, I don't like this announcement. I can't express why. I just don't.
Well, because nothing changes.
That's the end of my lizard brain analysis.
Nothing is actually fundamentally changing the way that you're buying, or, maybe a little bit of the events, as we mentioned, if they change the way they reward stuff. But by and large, that's it. So, Mythic wildcard
I would
purchases.
say, oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, if you spend $50 on Arena, you're going to get 46 packs right now, based on rough approximation, including the wildcard wheel and wildcards and packs and so on. You'll usually get about 3 mythic wildcards and 9 rare wildcards besides the cards you open. This came from Frank Karsten, a guy way better at math than myself. And so the rough approximation being you'll get 6 rare wildcards from the wheel, 2 from the packs, 1 from the vault progress. You'll get 1.5 from the wheel, 1 from packs, and 1/2 from vault progress. The idea essentially is that you're saying that you're going to spend $50 to get the 12 rares and the 4 mythics, but the other $50 worth of pack stuff you got is completely discounted and is not worth it. And that seems really weird. And so I don't really like it. I think another way to think of it is, what if they had said you can get 4 rares and 1 wild card for $12.50? Because that's the same scale.
Yeah, so I am in the process of working on a video for this, actually.
I was going to say, this is an awkward week for you to get eye surgery.
Yes, this is an awkward week, because so my YouTube channel is all like mostly economy based. I just draft, but my info videos is economy, tips, tricks, that kind of stuff. So what I did with the one stream I was able to do before my eyes exploded, and I didn't get to finish the video recording it live, but I opened 250 packs. I opened 5 sets of 50, because if you buy the $100 bundle, it is 50 packs exactly for $50 for the $49.99. Now, if you're buying a $50 bundle, you get a little less than that, but I'm just going to err on the side of maximum value, saying that you bought $100. And then I cracked them all. I tracked my wild cards from them, both both opened plus the wheels, the pip wheels, and I tracked my vault progress. So now I'm going to do the math on those and get those numbers to you guys. It looks like you are short on average, and I'm going to average those 5 sets of things together to see like what you typically open, and how much vault progress you get and what percentage of wild cards that would typically equal. It looks like you are short just a few wild cards. You're getting a few less wild cards, but you're also getting an additional 42 rares / mythic cards that you opened in the actual packs. I am including vault progress in this, so we're going to exclude all of the commons and uncommons, because those are actually going to be accounted for with the vault progress wild cards. So if, I'm going to do the math, and I'm pretty sure it is just a worse idea than just buying 50 packs and cracking them. Plus you give yourself a chance, because you can buy the packs in any set, to just open the cards that you want anyway. Those 42 rares can be the rares you need.
Right. So there's a couple issues with this whole thing. One is that, just to be clear here, this bundle basically offers 4 more wild cards than you would get on average from spending the money on packs, at the cost of not getting any of the random rares / mythics from opening the packs. That's what you're getting. So your problem is that they made a new product that's supposed to help things, and it's literally worse than if you just spent the money how they're already offering you the ability to spend it. And then, this is where I brought up the $12.50 thing. Why $50? Why $49.99? Why tell me I can go buy Elden Ring or whatever, a AAA awesome video game that I want to buy and play with, Red Dead Redemption 2 or something, and no, instead I'll spend my $50 here and get less than if I just bought the $50 thing you're offering me right this second. That's your problem. And I understand how it got this way in a corporate environment where you can't make less money, but damn, it's almost as if it'd been better if they did not announce that stupid thing at all.
No, this is just worse. You are getting less product. You're getting 1 or 2 more wild cards at the loss of 42 rares, which is, awful. I think the issue is that people want to be able to purchase wild cards. That's one of the good things about Runeterra, that you can purchase them as you go and get what you need. I do think we need a scale that's like, okay, for 20 gems you get a common, for 50 gems you get an uncommon, whatever the case may be. You should be able to buy them in microtransactions with the monetary currency, the actual money currency that we have in there, without needing it to be a $49.99 transaction. But I think someone just said, okay, how many wild cards do you get for $50? Roughly X. Okay, we'll give them 1 free one and call it a day. I think whoever made this doesn't play Magic and doesn't understand economy at all.
And you have to recognize also your audience, right? We're not going to be just blindly going, oh, this looks great, thanks Wizards, let's spend $49.99. No, we're going to do the math. We're going to crunch every number, and we're going to min-max the hell out of it. The Magic
fan base is insufferable.
But I think you're giving the general public way too much credit.
Yeah, I agree.
Fair. Well, I'm talking about our audience as Magic players generally is more analytical and, you know, not as susceptible.
We put
to
the anal in analytical.
There you go. Well, something noted here was, you know, the wildcard quote, the wildcard system is effectively the dust system, but rather than tied to things that are unfun, destroying cards, we tied it to something that is more fun, opening packs. Instead of forcing you to destroy the cards, we give it to you up front, says Chris Kiritz. Now, note, here's the thing that just stuck in the craw so hard. Wizards, we have asked you, we have explained to you, we have brought this to your doorstep so many times. What if you don't destroy the cards? What if you destroy the wild cards? Let me have a system where I get rid of X wild card commons to X, you know, uncommon. Rare cards into mythic. That's what we're talking about. Oh my God. I am sick and freaking tired of the elephant in the damn room being, what could you do with your existing wild cards that do absolutely nothing on your account but sit there and look at you funny? No, let's not talk about this. Let's talk about dusting and destroying cards. We're not talking about dusting and destroying cards, you damn fools. Wake up, man.
Our existing booster packs that are also just sitting there and staring at us angrily.
Give me something. Just
let us use our things that we don't want to use, that we don't like having.
Well, the commons and uncommons, which is what I'm assuming you're thinking of, you can just go ahead and craft those at the beginning of a set to get your vault progress up to upgrade into wild cards. It's minimal value, but it's an economy thing that you just have to do.
And it takes for freaking ever.
And thanks for Pharmacy Judge Note said they did discuss that they didn't want to do wildcard exchange because they purposely overinflate the number of uncommon and common wildcards. Well, underinflate it. It's your damn game. You can do whatever you want. This is weird.
Twist that knob a little.
Look, the word technology was just thrown out with every issue that could have been had. You know, well, the technology is this way, and the technology could change, and the technology is the problem. And it's a meme at this point where people are making fun of it, and that whole thing was a hot mess. And then at the end of it, it was just this weird of they were like, well, you know, Blake was like, well, I kind of built it up myself. And I'm like, did you? I think we kind of talked about this for 6 months before we actually
I want to really briefly talk about the hero that is Blake Rasmussen.
Sure.
Who went out there knowing he was going to get his ass handed to him and did it anyway. For us, he went out there and was the pariah that we needed to deliver the message none of us wanted to hear, and he knew the whole time.
I mean,
thank you, Blake.
Yep. Yeah, dude. I recognize your job sucks. I do recognize that your job awful
Blake
sucks.
is just the Wizards of the Coast whipping boy.
He's the messenger. Yeah, he's the one.
Every time Wizards of the Coast does something the community does not like, Blake takes the beatings for it. He's just kind of the mouthpiece to tell us what's going on with Wizards. He's the communicator. And we don't treat him as such, which is unfortunate because I've met him and he's a sweetheart.
He's amazing. And that's why I wanted to specifically say, Blake, none of this is about you. You are an angel baby. You are a person who couldn't be better. You've been there forever and we love you. And we know you have no control over how terrible this is.
Right. Blake is good people, had nothing to do with this. I 1000% believe that. And everything I've learned in the past is that a lot of times if you see your favorite Wizards people giving you bad news, 99.9% of the time they had absolutely nothing to do with it. Like no words involved at all. Just here you go tell people this and you're like,
most of the anger at Wizards goes to the wrong people, including the R&D stuff. It's like, oh, why aren't you banning this? R&D's stupid. Yep. It's like, well, no, R&D they have no say because this card is selling product or whatever.
And I know it's not just Blake, but Blake is the face, and so I want to laud him. But I know it's not just Blake who is fighting the good fight, trying to, they're Magic players too. They know. The people in the building know.
Well, and again, Wizards, sets their system, their business up in a very specific way, and that they understand that when you love Magic, you're just head over heels with Magic, and it's, the thing, and you love it to death. But they also want to hire someone who doesn't feel that way, where Magic is, zeros and ones, and profit and loss, and, things who people they just think analytically. And I get that as well, to have that perspective and have it be important. And I feel it was the latter half that makes decisions like these, because it's just boneheaded as a Magic player.
Can I say one thing real quick?
Sure.
About the destroying cards. So they don't want to give us dusting. every other game because they don't want us to destroy the cards. In addition to the other games giving us dusting, they also don't reprint their cards 1,000 times and just change the set symbol. Like Jumpstart has Windrider Sphinx that we just had printed, and we have to collect 4 of each of them. There is no reason we should not be able to do something.
I have so many temples. I have 6 copies of Fabled Passage for some reason. Right. Like, it's super gross. The fact that there's no arena codes and packs, they didn't even bring that up as an option. Also gross. So this is one of those where, you know, I was expecting to be disappointed, and I kind of got what I was expecting.
Didn't we talk about this, Evan? Weren't you like super like
I know I'm such a glass half full idiot.
Cut to the harp music and the fade to Evan going, I am hoping for something wonderful.
I know.
And you know, here's my sunshine and rainbows that are gonna happen. Listen, you know, I love your optimism.
A man is optimistic. A man can experience optimism.
And I'm sorry that your parade has been rained on yet again.
I want them to do good. You know what? I want to praise them. You know, I do. All right. Well, a question was sent out here this past week to Mark Rosewater's Blogatog on Tumblr, where they had mentioned set boosters, and they said, hey, you know, like, which are more popular, you know, draft boosters or set boosters? And he said, I believe the data says set boosters. And someone came back and says, do you mind explaining that? You know, does popular, you know, mean end user sales, LGS inventory buying, and so on? And they said he said it's ahead on almost every metric. They sell better. People tells us in market research they like them better, and we're getting more requests for them. Now, the key to this was an engineered system to make them look better and to make them more available so they're more purchased. But I also note that is essentially the successful strategy of creating a product and pushing it to the market in a way that makes it successful in its manipulation of said market.
Look, you put an algorithm in place, and then the algorithm tells you that that A is better than B. Unfortunately, every algorithm is biased by its creator. And so here we have a biased system, and of course it puts out biased data. That is not a thing that anyone can have any control over. So I don't blame Mark for his answer. I don't blame Wizards for coming to this conclusion, and I certainly don't blame the player base for buying Magic cards where they are available.
Well, if that's the only Magic cards that are available, then yeah, that would be the best-selling product, right? So like
the fault lies with the higher ups who wherever it is that twisted the knob before this data came in and then used this as the self-fulfilling prophecy.
Exactly.
We're also not seeing a huge outcry on social media and things like that for not, like, I don't have people on social media saying I can't find draft boosters and being very upset about it. Like these are just slightly larger lotto tickets, right? Because you can get bonus rares and things like that. And your general EDH player wants that. They don't want the set booster.
I agree with that.
I think if what nonsense was going on that you were super worried about, Evan, I think we would hear more complaints about it in just the general public. I've never had anybody talk about it ever, except for this stream.
You know,
you hear about it at the local store level?
I do not.
I mean, you would hear, and this is back when that sort of first came out, because it was an issue. Like, you know, when you have something new and shiny, people are going to be excited about the new and shiny. So that's when the Zendikar Rising had their set boosters, and then those things sold out, and then they brought them back, and so on and so forth. So, and then later, you know, the manipulation of there's only set boosters available, and then you can only sell set boosters during pre-releases, and you can't sell draft boosters until the release of the set. All these weird little restrictions create a scenario in which they want this to exist. So it's fine. Obviously,
I'm trying as hard as I can to cut through my bias.
Sure.
Because I'm biased to booster packs. Like, I want to draft.
Same. Right. I'm just saying,
I'm trying as hard as I can.
Right. And for
me, be like, how is this, like, what does this data say? Right. And unfortunately, I don't know what this data says because we don't see the data. All we can do is take Mark Rosewater, who we always take at his word because he's the hero. He's he's on the Mount Rushmore. Sure. He is the Mount Rushmore at this point. What are we going to do? Disbelieve him?
I mean, my friends buy set boosters now. My viewers like opening set boosters more.
There you go.
There you go. Well, moving on here, Kai Bude had tweeted, he's not sure why there's such a small alchemy set being released. Is alchemy supposed to have a monthly subscription fee of $100 or something? Most of these being rare plus really irritates me. There were some other people who jumped in, like Brad Nelson, who said alchemy has the potential to be such a great format, but it's way too expensive. Why are some of the mythics in the new alchemy set mythic? I don't know. There's not really a good reason, I think, for that beyond cash dollar bills. And to follow up on that, Saffron Olive had mentioned that his YouTube audience has made it pretty clear they don't want alchemy videos. But how do you feel about alchemy cards in historic videos? Because this is just a pushback that I think, and you see this in content even now, is that the Commander content has generally risen above all the rest. And people like seeing other people play with cardboard, like actual physical things. And honestly, this sounds like it'd be a great idea if they were to make secret layers of alchemy cards already. That sounds like a great idea to me.
Cool idea too.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I've got no good answers. Again, this is prima facie. Like, if it appears to be what it is, that's what it is. So there's no arguing against the data.
Right.
Data is manipulative, as is mentioned in our chat. You can manipulate data to say whatever you want, but there's no like angle here by Seth, probably better known as Saffron, to manipulate anyone as opposed to just sharing information. So
it was
I'm taking it as
a data point. It is a data point, right?
The alchemy cost is just absurdly high.
That too.
And then the overall view of alchemy, the reason people don't want to see alchemy videos is because they're still pissed that they lost historic. And I don't think that's going away until Pioneer gets here, which I think it is, because they even said when Pioneer comes. They said that like during the Crimson Vow pre-thing, when they introduced us to the first round of alchemy only cards. They said when alchemy comes, it will be paper only and will not include these cards. So like that's coming down the pipe very soon, and then I will see how people feel about alchemy.
I mean, I guess we'll see. I wanted to note here real quick, because we try not to delve too much into the dramas of things, but it was impactful in the community. The program I Hate Your Deck was a relatively new program, only showed up in the past, maybe 5-6 months ago. Had sort of a meteoric rise in popularity, and has now a meteoric fall in popularity as a result of its director/showrunner having some issues with previous interactions with an actress known as Benita Robledo. And feel free to Google all of those things if you would like more information. But the long story short is that there was a story about the way that certain things were handled by him years ago and the actress, and that those things were not necessarily correct in the way that he explained them versus the way the actress took them and explained them herself. And as a result, Card Kingdom and Ultra Sleeves and some other sponsors have pulled out of I Hate Your Deck. So
they've been around for 1 year. I just took a look.
Was it 1 year? Okay.
Yeah, 1 year. They were the fastest growing YouTube channel in basically Magic history. They had everybody from Prof promoting them, saying, hey, let's get them to 100,000 followers as fast as possible. And their YouTube channel hit 100,000 followers like within the span of a couple months, which is crazy.
Yeah.
So I recently met both of these guys. They're both LA local. Joe, I met at a Twin Mask Fighter practice. He's coming to LARP at some point. And then and he has no issues. He's still a content creator, still a TikToker. As far as I'm aware,
IHUD, right?
He left I Hate Your Deck, exactly. Right. Michael David Lynch is the person at the center of this controversy, whom I met the day before this all dropped at a Commander night, which was I'd never met him before. I'd seen him, I'd heard of him. I was like, we were sort of in the same circles. You
sure, he was a nice guy.
Interacted, but I had just never interacted with him before. We played a game of Commander, and then I didn't see him again. Because the next day all of this started dropping. There is lots to read about this out there. Please do not add to the echo chamber. And ask people involved, hey, what are your opinions on this? Do your research, but leave people alone.
And we have,
if you are looking into this.
We have lots of links in the description, in the show notes, if you want to go check out, what certain people said at the time. Believe women, believe victims, and I'll leave it at that. So let's go ahead and turn the corner here to the finisher. Hello, everybody. How's it? Mini Magic the Gathering players ask the question, how do I make a unique opening MTG tagline? Saffron Olive, the Command Zone guys, and the Professor all have theirs, but tell me, what is going to be your brand new branding line, Ruben?
Well, my brand is witty repartee, deep analysis, and verbal combat. So my new tagline will be, welcome to the Red Zone, because I'm Mox Ruby.
Nerd Girl?
I like it. So my fans know me for my high-quality economy videos and my top-tier dog memes. So get ready for my new tagline. Hey, everybody, it's Hammy's mom.
And you just got Hammy back, right?
I did.
Yay, that's awesome. Hello, everybody. You know me, Evan Irwin, Mr. Orange, the OG Mr. Worldwide. I have many names, some of which don't belong to Pitbull. So next time you see me, you'll hear me begin with, I'm live, you're welcome. Nice.
Excellent.
And that ends another live episode of Magic Mike's. Thanks for joining us here to discuss all things Magic. Thank you, Nerd Girl.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Thank you, Ruben.
Hey, you're welcome.
If only I had some sunglasses, I swear to God. We'll move here to our final slide. I want to thank our sponsor, CoolStuffInc.com, our co-sponsors, CardHoarder.com, and Alter Sleeves, my co-host, MTG Nerd Girl, and Ruben Bressler. You guys for watching and listening. I hope you support us at Patreon.com/MagicMikes. Please follow, like, tweet, favorite, share, subscribe to everything social that tells people we exist. Catch us online on our Discord, Twitch.tv at Magic Mikes, on Twitter at Magic Mikes Cast, our Magic Mikes subreddit, and like the Magic Mikes page on Facebook. Or join us here next week, same time, same place, for another episode of Magic Mikes. Good night, everybody.